The huge workshop cleanup continues. This is part 5, I think. They're happening so quick I'm having trouble keeping up. Hey guys, Chris and the Ultimate Recycler. We're back in the shed this morning. So yesterday was Tuesday and I actually did episode 3 and episode 4. Today is Wednesday morning, episode 5. This afternoon I have to go off and do some other business. So we've got to get a bit done this morning. I've just been here for about an hour. I've been sweeping up, been packing a little bit more stuff. Let's have a walk around and look at what we're going to take home this morning and maybe have a little sneak peek in some boxes. I've swept out the front of the workshop, as you can see. It's looking much better. It's quite satisfying sweeping out a shed because every square metre you get swept, you know you've got one less square metre to clean up. I've cleaned that trailer up a little bit and moved it back. I'm going to take that back to the shop and perhaps, well, it obviously can't go in the shop, but I might chain it up out the front. I might put it on Facebook Marketplace. It's been quite well converted from a motorbike trailer into a little spray cart. So there's some good quality spray hose in there. There's a little 12-volt pump, which looks pretty new. So I'm not sure what I'm going to get for it. I might just ask a couple of $100. You know, those parts I just pointed out are probably worth that. There's some cool little mag wheels on it. I don't want it hanging around too long. There's a toolbox on the front, so we'll see how we go there. I'm not taking it today though, but it's ready to go. As you can probably hear, it's actually starting to sound a little bit echoey, which I love to hear in a shed when you're cleaning up. It means you're actually getting somewhere. I've turned a few extra lights on. I found some floodlights that were hanging up and I've plugged them in because the shed itself really has very poor lighting and the skylights are totally covered in leaf matter, so that doesn't help at all. I've been picking up a bit of stuff around here, basically just some old bits of chipboard and rubbish. I haven't really found anything much that's saleable through the shop. There is a lot of rubbish and a lot of scrap in this shed, and I think my vision was clouded by the motorbikes and the lathe when I first walked in here, and I forgot to look at how much junk there actually is. But lucky I'm good at processing junk. This workshop table, I mentioned in the last video that I'll clean it off and probably try and sell it from here. And have a look at the absolute randomness of the stuff on it. Now, I haven't been doing anything on this table. I haven't added anything to it. This is exactly how it was. I don't think anyone's rummaged through it. I think this was just the workshop bench. So he's obviously saved a lot of jars and containers for holding screws and that, but then possibly when he's looking for one, he just tips them out. And yeah, look, we can't all have an immaculately tidy workshop, me included. A few of you commented on the drills, or one guy in particular mentioned the drill set I had the other day. Here's another really nice one, and apparently they're quite expensive. A lot of the little ones are missing, maybe broken, but that looks like a quality set of drills as well. We're probably getting some shadows here from the floodlight behind me, but every toolbox I'm looking in, every container is just a total random mix of everything. I don't think if you tried, I don't think you could possibly evenly distribute stuff randomly throughout the shed as well as this. Anyway, I'm going to just basically sweep all the top of this bench into boxes. I'll have to sort it out another time. I can do that in the shop or I can do that in the shed at home. There's going to be lots of tool sets, pieces that are out, not in the set, and they'll just be in random boxes, and I'll just have to, you know, sort them as best I can. So that's probably the plan today. I think I might just start cleaning off this bench because the sooner I get the bench sold and out of here, the better. We might turn that little shelf unit on its back and use that as a box to put stuff in as long as it doesn't get too heavy. What else have we got to report? I didn't find out any more about the oscilloscope. Apparently it was given to him and he doesn't think there's any leads with it. In fact, he honestly couldn't remember. He said it may have even been in this shed when he bought the place. What else? There's a spanner set that's missing most of them, and they're just going to be scattered around the shed in random spots. Is it a good set? Let's have a look. Let's have a look at the spanner. It's a Repco brand, is it? Yeah, Repco. So fairly modern set, probably not the best quality, but not a bad set all the same. And the other spanners are just going to be lying around the shed, I guess. Look, there's some more here on the bench. So massive cleanup or massive sort out once the cleanup is finished. What's in this one? This looks brand new. Oh, it's a compression tester. Okay. That looks absolutely never used. So I might keep that in my shed, given that I do a bit of small engine work. I used to have a compression tester, but I don't know where it is. I may still own it. I may have sold it. I don't know. Dean, a friend of mine, was trying to pick out the model number of this Pioneer stereo when we looked. Well, I had a scan around and he zoomed in. If we get the reflection out of the road, what's that? Model SX440. Looks like a good unit, probably late 60s, I'm guessing. So I'm keen to get that back and test it. So, all right, and we were going to box up some of these jars. So maybe I might do the jars first. Continue down this wall, and then once this bench is clean, I'll switch on to the middle one. Okay, I better hop to it. An hour and a half in this morning, and we're making some progress, steadily but surely. But jars, there's so many jars. And all the empty ones are going to the recycling. Those jars all have things in them, although admittedly not much. And I didn't see anything particularly exciting in them, but I'll be able to sort those out at the shop. These shelves are quite solid, good thick plywood. They'll be useful in my shed. Jars and plastic bottles and tins. This is all going in the recycle bin back at the shop. So at least we'll keep all this out of landfill. But there's something about the older generation. They just love to keep containers and jars and tins. And I guess because they were influenced by the Great Depression, you never throw anything out. And there's just jars everywhere. So, Mum, yes, you're the same. And yeah, admittedly, they are useful at times, but there has to be a limit. So, I've got this bench cleaned off at the top. I'm not going to worry about underneath for now. It's mostly lawnmower engines, and I think the boxes underneath are empty, so it won't take long to do that. The bench itself isn't of any value. I think I'd even struggle to give it away. Probably if the guy here wants to do a bonfire, we could burn it. I might offer it for free, but it's really of no value. Perhaps we could leave it in the shed and say, it's a fixture. Maybe I could just put one screw into the wall and say it's a fixture and it can stay here. So what else? Well, I found a few bits and pieces, as well as jars. A little box here, which I just had a quick peek in. I don't really know what they are. I haven't pulled them out, actually. It may be something to do with the lathe. That looks like a little V-block. It says made in England. Yeah, it's a cool little, I think it's an engineer's V-block or something like that. That's possibly another one wrapped up in wax paper. So they are very nice, even though I'm not sure if I'll use them or if they will have much value, but certainly better than a jar full of rusty nails. In this one, it's the leather's obviously rotten. It's some sort of large telephoto lens. I'm not sure. It's going to have some value, so we'll take that home and investigate further. Damn, I didn't mean to pull that off. We're filling up these crates here. I found this tin of cutting compound, but it doesn't have a lid. I think it's still okay. It seems to be like a wax and it melts very easily when your heat from your fingers are on there, so it's probably still fine to use. Do you use a cutting compound like that on a lathe? I know you can certainly use it with a drill. Now, I found some other lathe bits here. This one is actually branded Myford. It's a magnetic base, and I'm not sure what this gadget does at the top. So I'll have to investigate that. There's another little magnetic thing here that's perhaps a few of you mentioned the thing in the last video was a dial indicator. I kind of did know that, I just didn't remember at the time, and I think Doc said it may have a magnetic base. Is that it? So not sure, but it's obviously going to be useful. And there's lots of bits and pieces I think belong to the lathe in here. So, and I even found a book. So I'm going to learn about them. There's lots of cutters here and all sorts of odds and ends. Just underneath random boxes, I'm finding really good quality tools. So it's certainly a jumble, and it's going to take me a long time to sort out. But the important thing here now is to get this shed cleaned up, and I can go through the boxes at my leisure, so to speak. No doubt I'll probably take on another job and I won't have any leisure. But anyway, I've done that bench over there, got all the jars sorted. There's a bit of broken glass up on the wall, we'll have to go to the tip. Time to quickly sort some of this bench in the middle because I wanted to get this cleaned off. I don't have long to go today because after lunch I have to head off on some other business, as I mentioned. Okay, I'm sorry to cast disparaging words about jars. This jar is much more pleasant. Coins, it looks like there's some international coins. I did see some Australian ones. I did see a florin in there, so there's going to be some sterling silver stuff in there. I like going through coins. Not that I expect there to be much value, but again, it's much better than rusty nails. Okay, I'm going to call it quits today. I've made a good start on this bench here, and it's amazing what you don't see when you look over a bench. You know, how can you miss a bright red fire alarm bell? So that's pretty cool. That will sell well. I'll probably test that and see if it works. And yeah, nice little find. Now, guys who understand lathes, that's obviously a measuring tool. I'm not going to guess because I got the last one wrong. That, I think, is a lathe cutting tool. It looks like it's coated in wax, so I'm assuming it's still new. And in this ice cream container, these, I'm assuming, will possibly be for the lathe, for maybe different gear ratios. I don't know. It could be out of a motorbike gearbox. It's out of some sort of gearbox because they're gears. So I'm not sure on that. Found a really nice little English vise. What do they call them? It's a drill, yeah, vise for your pedestal drill. More drill bits, although these are a cheaper brand. These are Craftrite, which I think were LD ones. So I'm just sorting the bench as quick as I can and just keeping, you know, I'm just putting nuts and bolts and bits of metal in some tins and bits of tools and things that I might need in other buckets. So it's good to sort it like this because I'm finding things that otherwise would be lost. Now, if someone cleans out a shed, generally they do it as quick as they can and they just scrape everything into the bin or the skip or even the scrap metal bin. But it all gets just sort of scraped in quickly and nothing gets studied. Now, it takes me a little while to do these jobs because I don't like to miss anything. And I just found an old split piece of timber that doesn't look anything flash, but it's the missing moulding from that nice little chest of drawers that I got off this bench here the other day. So I'm pleased to find that. We'll restore that little chest of drawers one day and it'll go in my shed. So we'll call it quits for today. It's nearly lunchtime. I'm happy with what I've got done today. There's you know, there's still a bit to go, but we're wading through it pretty quickly. I'll be back out here tomorrow and the weather's holding, so it's not bad conditions. So I'll finish this video up now. This was episode 5. I'm filming in front of a blank wall because it gives me the impression looking at the camera that we're nearly finished. I am still enjoying it. I love the whole process of cleaning up. It's going to be a bit of a drag at the end where I've got to come and get stuff for the tip and, you know, scrap metal that's just going to the transfer station. But that's all right. It's all part of the job and we'll sweep the shed out spotless at the end. Probably a few more episodes to go yet. And I do need to get the bigger stuff organised. I've spoken to the nephew and he's really happy with how things are going. In fact, he said, I reckon we've got such a good deal. He said, in Melbourne, people come and clean out your shed for you and they charge you a fortune and they get to keep the stuff. So, you know, I've got to do the right thing. I want to do the right thing. I'm in a small town. You can't afford not to do the right thing, but it's good karma. I like to look after the guy, but the nephew's saying you should charge more. And if you do the house, make sure you charge. But anyway, we might do a deal with the big generator, the good generator that was in the garage too. I might get that as part of the house clean out. And who knows what we'll find in the house cupboards. So, end of this episode. We'll probably see you tomorrow morning for the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.